WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Everything earned for a goal of elevation. Just passing the team over here might finish out. Bright future we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions. Fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team. When eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare. Taking a step to become supreme.
Yes, guys, welcome back to Eagle-Eyed Football and welcome back to another episode of TACT-EAGLE. As always, I am joined here with my co-host, Dan. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all right. I'm pretty optimistic for this game. Obviously, the result of the weekend was still nice. And yeah, it's been a nice sort of run up to this game, and knowing as well that we got 3 weeks as well, and then we obviously drew Fulham as well. There's a lot going on, lots to talk about, and I'm just kind of enjoying it at the moment. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I think I spent a bit more time than I usually do on the TACT-EAGLE when researching this one today, but not researching what you think. I would say I wasn't actually looking at them too much. I was looking more at us, which I think is a little bit more of an interesting way of looking at it. So today's episode will be slightly different. Sort of going back to the good old days of TACT-EAGLE where we had no idea what we were doing. And we would both do attack and defense, but we're sort of going to try and feed off each other here a little bit more, make it more of a conversation instead of just one person just blabbing for half an hour and then the other person doing the exact same thing. But just initial thoughts on this game, Dan. Is this just a game that you think, to do anything in the league, we should be winning? Or
yeah, I mean, I think I did tweet it at some point today, but I do think the league is probably a bit far gone, if I'm to be honest. Like, I think I was doing the maths, and if Brighton and Bournemouth continue their points per game as they have all season, they'll end up on about 60, 61 points. So realistically, we can only drop 6 points until the end of the season. So I mean, in terms of this game, obviously, I think, this is a must-win game. To be honest, even if we weren't in this position, I think, if we're not winning this game, I think questions should be asked. They're in the relegation zone. They're probably, the firm favourites besides Leicester and Southampton to go down. And, if we're not beating them after us being 12 years in the Premier League, with a very decent manager and some very decent players, I think that's a very bad day at the office, at home as well. That's a very bad day at the office, in my opinion.
And also a win puts us to 39 points and, not saying that that's where we want to finish, but you could probably finish the season on that points tally and not go down. So that's just like one burden off our shoulder completely if we win on the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Going into the comments really quickly. Big up the dog. So JC, are you headache free? Yes, I am. I drank lots of water today and I'm feeling good.
I'm feeling good.
You don't need to do that, big man. Can't wait to tune into Bradford, into Taylor Bradford. Sad it's not Malcolm. Dan, are you sad about Malcolm Edue?
I mean, I'm sad, obviously, he hasn't made the progress that he perhaps could have. But for whatever reason, whether that's confidence, whether that's an attitude problem, whether that's just... Because I don't think it's technical ability. Like, I don't think it is technical ability. Maybe it's physical ability. I don't know. But I think it's a shame that it hasn't quite gone the way. I mean, in my opinion, really, I think we should maybe call it quits and he should go somewhere else just to rebuild his career somewhere else. Obviously, he did well at Derby in League One, so who's to say that he couldn't join if he joined the right Championship team? I'm sure he'll maybe do well, but I don't think his future's here.
Big up Chairman, big up Pat saying, big up Free, and Dan, the man with the moves like Jackie Chan.
Thanks. I did one lesson of karate once, and that was it.
Woo!
And Jackie Chan didn't even do karate; he did kung fu. So, so it's irrelevant, really. But
wouldn't it be typical for us to drop points? Dan said this to me after everything that we were speaking about on text earlier, and I told Dan about something. He went, "Wow, 1-0 Ipswich." Brilliant. I don't think so. He did a 9 for York, excluding Ipswich and Southampton. Yeah, it's almost an impossible task. Pick up Earth.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the games we do have, like we've got Liverpool away, City away, Arsenal away,
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest at home.
Yeah, big games.
Yeah,
I think Mateta will be back sooner and will wear a face/head mask. I don't think there's any need for a mask because it like his issue's like here, isn't it? So I don't think a mask, but maybe like a Peter Cech hat.
Yeah,
that would be quite hilarious, actually.
Yeah, like one
John
of those
Mateta with a rugby hat on.
Yeah, there's rugby scrum hats, isn't it?
I mean, I saw CPFC talk about it. Imagine him having a hat with a long shirt and tucked in as well. The aura on this man.
That would be iconic.
Don't say it. Like Rush Hour. Yes, no headache. That was terrible. Ability the most vital attackers. Mustafa, he had a really good goal. Really, really good goal. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he might find his way onto the bench with a few of our injuries that we've got. Kung Fu Dan. LeBron mask. There's no need for that. That mask is just here, isn't it? That's like an Osimhen mask. It's basically the same as the Osimhen mask. That's all it is. There's no need for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
You know what we didn't do, Dan? I didn't run through the videos. So this could be a stinker.
The first one is predicted 11. I know that.
Yeah. I know that, but I don't know which one it is.
No, I mean the first one in the order.
Let's hope for the best.
The first.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the one after that is a defense.
Okay. No.
We'll see.
We're winning at the moment, so we're going to keep it rolling. All right. Predicted 11. Dan, we're going to talk about some injuries. Let's get into it. First off with Crystal Palace. Chadi Riyad injured. We know this. Cheick Doucouré injured. We know this. Jean-Philippe Mateta injured. He is out of hospital. They are saying he's going to be back sooner than we think, but he ain't playing in this game unless he is Superman. But it is Jean-Philippe Mateta. Superman is scared of Jean-Philippe Mateta. Joel Ward is also injured, with Will Hughes having a 2-game suspension, which means he will be back on the 2nd of April. So my guy has got a whole month off.
He can play against Fulham, though, I'm pretty sure.
He can.
Yeah.
But one thing I did see, Munoz cannot get a yellow against Fulham. If we win, he can't get a yellow, or he'll have to serve a ban at Wembley, which will be awful for us. Which basically means that, so extreme hypothetical here.
Oh no.
Extreme hypothetical here. If he doesn't get a yellow against Fulham, but he gets a yellow in the semi-final, he can't play the final.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
I'll double check.
But that's a hard conversation for another day. So, Ipswich, they have a hell of a lot of injuries, Dan. I've
Mhm.
already said them to you, but I will read them out for everyone. Injured for them is Wes Byrne, Ogbene, Amari Hutchinson, Walton, Enciso, or Enciso, whatever his name is. So I've been working with
Cisco.
I've been working with network switches for so long.
Oh yeah, I know. I
The
know.
Cisco ones, that's why.
Yeah. I understand that reference.
Calvin Phillips injured. He's rubbish anyway. Tranzebe injured. Burgess injured. Chaplin injured, and Sammy Smozic injured as well. They've got no number 10. All three of their number 10s are all injured. Dan, does that make you feel more confident or less confident? Bearing in mind we are a team which by the name of Crystal Palace.
You know what? To be fair, actually, I think Gloucester's kind of made us not that team anymore. I mean, I know
Unless
we did.
it's Everton.
Yeah, unless it's Everton. I know. We did bottle it against Everton, but to be fair, I don't think we really do it like we used to under Roy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when I know we won the game, but like when Sheffield United came, they scored within 30 seconds or something, and then we equalised, and then they scored again. To be fair, you know what? I back us to do the business. And there's been games this season where we have played terrible. We haven't played very well, but we still won. So,
Going into the tactics board here, here's what I've gone with. Bearing in mind this is a home game, I've gone with Dean Henderson in goal, starting Ben Chilwell again, with Mark Gay, Maxence Lacroix, Chris Richards, and Daniel Munoz at right wing back, with Adam Wharton and Jefferson Lerma in the middle, with Eze on the left, Sarr on the right, and Eddie Nketiah, call me maybe, up top.
call me mate. Oh Jesus, Carly Ray Nketiah.
You know. Dan, are we in agreement? Are we not in agreement? What are we saying?
That's exactly what. To be honest, I had Mitchell, but that's just because I forgot about Chilwell. To be honest, so
Again.
yeah, I don't know why I keep forgetting about it, but yeah, I think I'm just so used to just typing TM into that left wing back role. I just don't even think about it.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah, Ben Chilwell, I think for this game especially, I do think makes sense.
And I think the fact that he's just so much better moving forwards, and I think I said it to you guys. I think when we was doing our fan cams, I think from now to the end of the season, I think we should be looking at going Mitchell for away games and Chilwell for home games. Just purely for the fact that we're going to have the ball a lot more at home, and we're going to need a little bit more work down that left-hand side. Yeah, I think something like this, Chilwell starting again. I do think that Wharton will start because he didn't. Did he start against Millwall? He didn't, did he?
No, he didn't. But to be honest, I think he's been playing like fair. Because I'm trying to think, when did he play majority of the game? That was Villa, wasn't it? And he came off about 60 minutes, didn't he?
Yeah,
or did he
and
come
I think
off after that?
He played quite a lot against Doncaster as well, didn't he? Just getting fitness back.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would be okay playing at least most of this game.
They're easing him back, aren't they?
Yeah. And to be honest, I'll be very surprised if we don't see Kamada at some point in this game.
100%. For them, I've actually gone with something a little bit rogue, I would say. Normally, they play like this with a 4-2-3-1. But I reckon that because of their injuries, I think they might switch to a flat 4-3-3. And I say this because all of their number 10s are injured. Enciso, Smozic, Hutchinson, and Chaplin, all four of them are injured. And those three midfielders are the ones that have got the most appearances for them in the Premier League so far. And also, they're the ones that aren't injured out of all of their injuries. It is a bit of a dead team because it is literally three defensive midfielders in there. But I think that they'll do that because of the good form that we're on and the fact that they just need to grind out results in the rubbish situation that they're in. And let's be real, we've been in that situation. We've had a midfield of Kouyaté, Luca, and McCarthy, if I remember correctly. How dead was that? And we still managed to get a draw against Manchester City.
Yeah.
So it's not like having 3 DMs is the end of the world. It just makes you really hard to beat. So, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
But for them, I have gone with Palmer in goal, with Davis, Greaves, O'Shea, and Johnson at right back, because obviously Transebe is injured. He can slot in there at right back. I've gone with Taylor, Morsey, and Kajust in the middle, with Jack Clark wide left. Jaden Philogene, who I'm still a little bit salty that we didn't even try and get, on the right, and Liam Delap up top. Dan, are you in agreement? Are you changing anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair enough. I mean, the thing is, they do have a lot of injuries. And to be honest, if they did want to play the way that they normally do, I don't really know how they would do that. To be honest, I'm just looking at their team from even against in the Nottingham Forest game. I mean, they said Twanzebe got injured. I mean, Ben Johnson played as a right winger in that game. So, and we know he's not well. We were going to buy him as wing back option. So
no, we were going to buy him a centre back cover.
Were we? Because I think he can play across all the back
left.
five, can't he? Yeah.
He's basically a Nathan Ferguson that's fit.
Yeah.
What could also happen as well is let me just move Taylor. They have got another striker called Hurst, I believe. It wouldn't surprise me if they maybe went to like a 4-4-2 and put a Hurst up top.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I mean, yeah, because defensively, a lot of teams in the Premier League do defend in a 4-4-2 anyway. So
yeah, and normally the 10 is the guy who is that second striker in the defense. But why can't they have 2 strikers there? Not Rory Delap. Liam Delap's really good, like as a player in general. So he could probably link up the play, and he's good enough to dribble and take on opponents himself. So that this could work as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan, how do you want to go forward? Would you rather the 3-4-3 or the 4-4-2 if we went forwards?
I'd say the 4-3-3 because I think that would make sense with what more McKenna would be. I think because I don't think McKenna would play with 2 up front just because I don't think they're really gonna just start kicking it because I think that would work if they kicked it long. Or I looked in for balls in behind, but I don't think they will do that.
Yeah.
So I think the 4-3-3 would, and also the 4-3-3 would help them potentially control the game as well. Like, I mean, three players there versus our 2. I mean, one of them is Wharton, so
he counts for 2.
He counts for 2. So, but that wouldn't be a bad shout for McKenna.
All right. A few more comments. All about Munoz. 7 bookings in the league, 3 cup bookings, 1 in the FA Cup, 2 in the League Cup. So he's getting about with a booking. Does that mean?
Because I'm trying to find out. 90minute.com said that the suspensions don't count. After the cutoff point for such suspensions is the quarterfinals and beyond. And apparently, you only need 2 bookings before receiving a suspension, but he obviously hasn't. So maybe this isn't right then.
I don't know.
And the thing is, I've typed in FA Cup yellow card rules, but I can't find.
I don't know.
Strange. Who knows?
Durfez says Lerma off for França. Hell no.
No, France would definitely either play in Eze's position or Sar's position. More likely Eze's.
they're going to play a back three with Philogene as a wing back. They tried that with Hutchinson, but it didn't really work out too well. Then again, though, Dorgu two-footed him, didn't he, and got himself sent off, so he could have done it all right. Wouldn't we rather Munoz in the final, so foul Fulham for the cup game?
Well,
I would rather him just, or then he'd be banned for the bloody
semi-final, and knowing our luck, we'll probably draw
Man City
or Brighton or something, because they only play against teams who have missing key players. So
yeah, missing key players, FC right there. Who else? JC, will you be reinstating Rich T to future player ratings? No, Dan has got his job back. Dan has his job back. His job is very safe at the moment.
Oh, nice.
And apparently, people heard me vibing to the intro music when it was playing.
Did you? I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you.
I didn't hear me either. Yeah. All right. Let's swiftly move on to the attack. So we will be talking about how Ipswich attack. It's very different to how they would attack if they actually had a number 10, because when they have a number 10, they are actually quite good going forwards, to be fair. If I quickly move their players forward a bit and then move our players into position, you'll sort of see where I'm coming from. Let's go about there. So, instantly, we looked very, very, very good defensively. We've literally got a 2-on-1 here, 2-on-1 here, and potentially even a 3-on-1 here. So, in our favour, when they're attacking, we're already looking very, very good with this slightly new formation that they are playing. However, if they were playing that number 10, then it becomes a little bit more difficult, because what they were doing, and let's say in the instance of this example, Amari Hutchinson is Taylor here, you would see them attacking a little bit more like this, where it's like a 4-2-4 formation. And the reason why they're doing it with Hutchinson here and Delap here is because Hutchinson is left-footed, so he can cut in and shoot on his left on this side, and Delap is right-footed, so he can cut in and shoot on this side. But bear in mind, Delap's just as good on his left as well as his right, which makes him a very, very lethal goal scorer in front of goal. But they are they've got like a few different ways of actually moving forward, let's say. So they are actually a very direct team. Let me get a ball. I always forget. That's the one thing I forget. It's always the ball. They're very direct. That's not even a pause. That's not even a pause. Send in yourself. Send yourself to the shadow realm. Thank you. Oh, wait, he's back. Disappear. Yeah, they're very direct. So they will play passes, but they'll be like one-touch football. So the ball coming here, first touch, first time, move first time, and then get the ball in. So they'll move the ball around very confidently, very quickly, and they'll try and run into space. They're also a team that aren't afraid just to say, you know what, we're good at running in behind. Let's drop the ball into some space and have someone run into it. They're also not like too big, or they think they're too good to resort to those kind of route one ways of playing. But the reason why I think that this change in formation is going to be so pivotal to the whole game is because they are a very, very transitional team. They love to hit you on the break. Dan will talk about it a little bit later, but they like to sit in a low block, a very, very deep low block, where the two people who sit in front basically tuck in like this. So you've basically got four players in a very congested area where the centre-backs are, just to pack out that area and not give anyone that's a striker in that area any space on the ball. But because of that, you've got your out players, don't you? You've got your 10, You got your wingers, which these wingers don't really come back too much, but you've got 4 out options here. And normally, they would give the ball to the number 10, and basically, as this happens, the number 10 will pick up the ball and they will run forwards. As they're running forwards, you've got Delap making a run, you've got Philogene making a run, you've got Clark making a run. So this player is the one that will be dictating where those passes go and driving you up the pitch. And also with that player being Hutchinson, there's no reason why Hutchinson couldn't stand up Lerma, make his way around him, and then you make the odds in their favour even better. But without that number 10, they lose that person to pick up the ball and drive forwards. So that means one of two things is going to happen. That burden is going to be placed on either Clark or Philogene, which then means you've got one less runner out here. Or it means that you're going to try and leave it for someone that it isn't their main job or their main role to do it. They're not good enough at dribbling, maybe, to do that same job, which we'd probably be able to, counteract with Wharton and Lerma there. Or what I think will actually happen is when the ball's turned over, McKenna is going to have all of their players pressing our back line at all times. So even when they are defending, I reckon that McKenna's way of thinking is he's going to have their players pressing our back line at all times. For the one incident that, I don't know, let's say Lerma tries to pass to Sarr and it gets cut out. My guess is that because he'll put these guys on this line so that this player can win the ball and just go whack, run into space, and try and start an attack from there. They've got very strong runners, Eugene, Delap, and Clark. They're all very quick as well, and they're all deadly in this kind of situation. So I think that he's going to try and play off of his strengths up front to make up for his weakness of not having a creative number 10. And they'll just skip the creativity and just go straight in and be direct straight towards goal. Anything you want to add so far, mate?
Well, I was thinking actually, because if you got those three pressing the back line, could it be a case then that because they're pressing the back line, could you then also see maybe, like obviously I know Davis loves to get high up the pitch as often as possible, and then maybe even Johnson as well. So in a way, could he really kind of play like a wing back-ish kind of system where, in this situation, maybe, or even just in this situation, maybe like one of their midfielders just drops into the back three whilst Johnson pushes up?
I think from what I have seen, I think if you're going to ask someone to do this role, it'll probably be Davis. And I say that because whenever I've seen Johnson, he's been more of a defensive player. So even though he has played wing, he's much more of a defensive minded player. I think when we were actually looking at getting him, was it in the summer or in January last year? I think we were looking at him as normal right back or right centre back cover. So he's much more defensive. I think he's like 6'2" or something like that. So he's built like a centre back.
Okay.
Whereas Davis isn't. And whenever I have seen Johnson, if he does go up the pitch, he's always on the touchline. He's never like moved inside or done anything like that. Whereas I have actually seen Davis do underlapping runs before. I think there's a goal that Delap scored where he was literally standing on a touchline. Davis did a great underlapping run, which took the fullback away, and Delap was able to dribble inside and make a nice pass. So if anyone was going to do it, it'll probably be Davis. Which then, if you move their players across a little bit, that does make their attack look a little bit better. But I don't know if McKenna would want to sacrifice his defense for the possibility of this player that is out of position doing something they're not used to doing and they're not known to doing. If you're committing another player forwards, if we do win the ball with Wharton, it's like I wouldn't say it's easy pickings for him, but you're going to leave Wharton in or like pretty much a 1v1 situation with all of them. And with the talent of what we have up front, would you really want to leave yourself that open to a transition, knowing that we are very good at transitions as well? I don't think they'd want to take that risk. I think that McKenna would probably want to keep an extra man back to not have this problem or to try and nullify this problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I think that makes sense. Because obviously he'll know that we like to kind of our strongest time is when we're in transition, and I think like you say, I think he does. Without giving too much away, they're not very good at defending transitions. So if you have more back, then theoretically your odds go up. Yeah, so I do get that, yeah.
So I think that probably what they will try and do is if they were going to... Then again, thinking about this right now on the spot, what could actually work is if they do, I guess, move, like they have all three of these people back, maybe have Philogene be that person who is with the ball and then commit Davis forwards, because that doesn't look as bad, because then you've got three in the middle still. So you've got three higher and then three here as well. And then also you've got that more quality here, the higher dribbling ability, probably the better passing ability as well. And he's able to actually drive and act as that 10 role. And then you've got still your three options up front. So that this is probably the way you do it. If I was McKenna and I was a manager thinking of trying to play their play style. Other than them playing long ball, they do have a slightly funky way of moving the ball forwards, I think. Let's move everyone sort of back into position again. So with this new formation change, obviously makes it a little bit more difficult to talk about, but because they pride themselves on having their front three so far apart from each other, which is extremely strange because we are the complete opposite. We want to keep them as close together so they can work off each other. But the reason why I think McKenna does this is because wherever you are in the pitch, the midfield is the most important part of the whole team, because wherever you are in the pitch, he wants one of the midfielders to go and assist. So, for example, in Vieira's season, let's say this is Elise over here with Philogene, and then this is Conor Gallagher. With Elise having the ball, Gallagher will go over here and support him. It's the exact same thing for Ipswich. So if Philogene's got the ball here and he's running towards Chilwell and he's getting no luck out of it, you'll see the midfielder actually be the one to come back and hold the touchline out here, and then they'll sort of switch into like a two midfield here, and then they'll try and create an overload on this side. It'll be the same thing on this side of Kajust, but I'll just keep the example down this side already. So if you look in this channel alone, you've probably got a pretty nice overload, but I don't think Johnson's going to go up. But if they had Twanzebe, he would then come and stand in here, which would then make a triangle, which would then cause us to have to switch and come over and then leave people over here to the space and build up from there. So it's quite cool and how they do it, but I don't see how they would get away with it with us, and the fact that we press very our press is very smart basically and calculated. I think we'll see that coming, and I don't think we'd just jump on it. I think that we'd be smart enough to see this happening and then only commit one person over.
Yeah. To be honest as well, I do genuinely think the way that they try and build up out of defence sometimes, and they did it. I think they did it yesterday against Forest. They definitely did against Man United. When they try and build up out of the back, I think they get caught so often as well that, I mean, I don't even know how many times they're really going to be in like a actual, like, you know, like a heavy possession build up, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how often they're actually going to sustain having the ball for, say, like several minutes at a time.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, that's all it is really with how they try and build up. Their best way of moving forwards is seeing space in behind and having their players run into it. That's where they've got the most love out of the Premier League. And
Yeah,
to be fair, if it works, you've got to stick to it. It works for us, you know. We've had to play dodgy football for the last few years. It never stopped us from doing that every week, week in, week out. It's a type of football that works. It might not be pretty, but if it works and it keeps you in the league, that's got to be all that matters to Ipswich.
yeah, absolutely. And I also do think that Liam Delap is a very good profile to have as that player who's kind of like a bit bullish, will try and run onto it, try and make things happen. Yeah, I think he's a good player to have for them in that place.
Quickly on how we'll defend against them, we sort of touched on a few points on it already. Talking about how they attack and how they struggle a little bit. Pressing smartly, I think, is probably the main one for me. So if it was me, if I was Oliver Glasner, I would want the players that are coming in to the team from injuries to other players. I feel like we should try and target these guys. So if the ball is with O'Shea, we should definitely press in a way where the ball almost has to go to Johnson here. Because from what I know of Johnson, when I actually did a transfer weekly on him, he's very strong, very fast, but his passing is not all that. And his composure on the ball ain't all that either. So if you can move the ball over there and then Nketiah can follow that run and then Sarr can run in here, he's not the kind of player to see this pass out to Davis over here and completely switch it. He's not that kind of guy. He's literally going to see that he's got no options here, that everyone's sort of marked, and he's just going to whack it long and hope for the best. That's literally how Philogene scored against Man United. The only reason why Man United conceded is because Dorgu's an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He completely messed it up, didn't he? And I think, like, because looking at that there, I could see a situation where maybe Philogene tries to drop, but then you'd hope that Chilwell just
follows him in.
Follows him in, and then Eze or whoever it is,
it'll be like that.
Cuts off that inside, and then Eze, whoever that is, cuts in that inside sort of channel to Morsey or whoever's in the middle.
Yeah, because what would happen is Chilwell would follow him in, Mark would pick up the space, and then we'd sort of transition to like a fullback here, but we'd still have a very good odds in our favour there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, I think as Ipswich have created the joint. Put it this way, Ipswich have created the same amount of XG as Southampton, and they're on 9 points. So, they're
Other things, mate. I don't want, even though they are free DMs, and they do have an overload there, I wouldn't want to give them an easy time because you're a professional footballer into the Premier League. You're going to have a bit about you when it comes to passing. So Wharton and Lerma, they've got a big job trying to keep these guys quiet because they are going to be of an overload. But I think that we're good with cutting out their passing, which I think is something we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that the midfielders don't have too much time when they come over here to support. But we spoke about that with Wharton or Lerma following them and not committing too much over, still having one man in the middle.
I was going to say, to be fair as well, I think any one of the back three as well, I think could easily push up into that midfield to pick up to aggressively mark or tackle one of those midfielders either. And to be honest, like, I don't think Delap's a handful, but I don't think he's that quick. So it wouldn't be a case of like, Lacroix needs to stay where he is in case of that ball behind. It would very much be like, I think any three of them could push up when necessary, and the other two could very much try and marshal Delap as good as they can.
Mm-hmm. And literally, the last thing I was going to say is I think that Lacroix needs to be as aggressive as he is with all other strikers with Delap. Because Delap, he is a wonderful striker, but he's not that strong, he's not that fast, and he's also not that tall. So if they try and do this route one straight to him, how many times have we seen Lacroix literally go straight behind a striker and literally just push them so far forwards that even when they jump, the ball's well behind them. So like he would walk up to them, literally push the player forwards. The ball comes in here, and then Richards or Mark would just come over and sweep the ball. I think Lacroix needs to be on this all game because Delap's going to try and give it some to Lacroix, but I think that Lacroix's got the height, the strength, and the speed to make up for it, even if he does mess up the push, let's say. But for me, that's how they attack. I think that's really the best way of us defending. Just be aggressive, don't give them time on the ball, and try and make them play route one because we have got the quality in our team to overcome that and play through them on a transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Anything else or not really?
No, I think that's it. Like, we're just discussing it as we went, and I think that pretty much says everything, really.
Cool. On to the defense now.
Right. So ignore my formation. I haven't changed it. So defensively, what do they normally do? So as JC said, they normally defend in this. Well, normally, it would be sort of like a 4-3. 4-5-1. And what they tend to be quite narrow as well. And really, what they're doing is they're just trying to stop any central progression. So let's move our players up a little bit. Delap's over here.
Centre back.
Yeah, Delap's a centre back. But all they're trying to do is they're just trying to stop any central progression through the middle. Okay, so and ignore the players I've got on the pitch as well. I forgot that Tuanzebe was injured. So let's say we're here. They're going to try and have it. So, it's going to be difficult for us to be inside there. They're going to make sure that they're marking these. They're going to make sure all the players are marked, that they've got, and they're in the passing shadows as well. So it's going to be difficult to get balls into this middle. And they'll try and push us wide as well. So if we are on the touchline, let's say, they will try to have us in here. They'll use this line. They'll use the byline, so the byline, the touch line, as a extra defender. So that's what they'll do. And that's the general gist of how they play. They're not a hugely pressing side, I don't think, not as much as some other teams, unless the situation kind of needs them to be. But that's pretty much it. Because to be honest, like, they've got the second worst expected goals against in the league. They've also got the highest non-penalty expected goals per shot. They've conceded the fifth most amount of shots, and they're particularly susceptible to take-ons. So whilst, yes, I'm talking about them being in this low block, they're most vulnerable when they're not in this low block, when they are being caught, let's say, in these positions. They've advanced these players, as JC was saying, they get caught in this middle. Townsend? Why is Townsend there? Yeah, I know, because I think I just took it off the Nottingham Forest game. But, if they are in these positions, etc., they get caught out a little bit, say over here, normally they are in squeaky bum time. And actually, let's put Greaves here as well. That made more sense. And that's basically the crux of it, because pretty much all the chances I saw that they conceded were either from a transition where they've lost the ball kind of like in this sort of area, and then the other team's counterattacked. And when you say Ishmael Assar, I did Greaves actually. Oh no, they didn't.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Well, to be fair, I think Mateta did him as well earlier this season.
Yeah, he did actually. He did him dirty.
He boxed him on the floor.
He was one of the scout threads I did when he was in the championship, and whilst he's very good in the air, in my opinion, he's not the quickest player in the world. So if we are in this position, all Ismail Assar's got to do, and knowing how high Davis does want to push, you've got all of this area over here for someone like Ismail Assar to run into.
Mm-hmm. And also the centre-back step up very high as well, even though they're not actually the fastest. We saw that at their place when Mateta literally just stood on the halfway line, did a nice little step over and just ran straight in. Because their centre-back's not fast, but they step up very, very high.
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah, and again, that helps us because, if Ismail Assar's smart about it, he can break away very quickly. Nketiah as well. Again, I did a bit of a scout thread on him before he came to us. He's more than happy to run in behind as well. In fact, I think he prefers running in behind rather than receiving balls to feet, which is the opposite of Mateta. And then you've got Eze here who can perhaps make a run as well and bolster the squad. Who knows? And then maybe Chilwell can join the attack as well. But
He will be.
Well, I hope so, but we'll see how quick he is. But yeah, catch him in this area, and then we're quids in. The other thing I did notice, and this is this is maybe something that I should do a lot more of, looking at their set pieces. So when they defend set pieces, right? So I was surprised they've only conceded 4 corners this season, but all of the goals they conceded against Man United the other day, all of them were from set pieces. So were in some way related to a set piece. Although I think that was from free kicks. And to be fair, on FB Ref, I don't think the goals you can see from free kicks, I think if you pass it and then you score, I don't think it counts on here as a free kick goal. It's only if you score direct free kick.
Because that'll make it the second phase of play if you pass it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that might be why it's doesn't really make sense with the stats. But every single one wasn't very good. So what they'll do is they'll shove all these players in here, like most teams do. They'll zonally mark, blah, blah, blah. They'll have someone over here. I don't know how the exact configuration of the players or whatever, but they'll have these players over here. They'll all be packed in here, defending this space, blah, blah, blah. But one place that they're really not very good at defending is this back post over here. So let's chuck, say, Jefferson Lerma over here. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have all our players in here. Let's have all our players in there. And yeah, where Jefferson Lerma is, they are really not good at picking up this space. For some reason, even if the ball sails all the way over here, they don't really seem to go to defend this, which is crazy because, you've basically got a situation where a player, and if we say put someone who is good with their head, so if it's Jefferson Lerma, Chris Richards, one of those players, they can either have a pop at goal themselves and, maybe try and force a save from the goalkeeper who might then spill it into the path of someone else, or can just head it across to someone else who's also decent with his head. So obviously we know Nketiah has been very decent with his head recently. Chris Richards as well. Maxence Lacroix is very decent with his head. We've got some good aerial players now. And I think I genuinely think this would be a source of a goal for us.
Is this the same case for the near post by any chance or not?
I didn't really notice. I didn't really notice the near post so much. It seems to be more the back post for some reason. I don't know if it's because if it's the back post, they feel like they've got time to between here and there to react a bit more. I don't know, but the near post didn't really seem to be a something. But to be honest, generally they seemed weak defending set pieces, regardless of where the ball was, but especially where Jefferson Lerma is. Like, I think they would be susceptible to a near post one as well, but like, I don't know, maybe I don't know, say like slightly less so than if it's a back post, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is because, you know, how we've just discovered Lerma has a legendary long throw, which isn't actually that long.
Yeah.
And he barely gets it into the box when throwing it in. So
Yeah.
I was thinking that normally our game plan is Lerma throws it to about where a bit behind where Davis is.
Yeah.
If they're not that good at defending there, then we could easily get a player in there to nod it back, and then you could, you could create a chance from the throw in from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think just as long as we're getting that ball into the box, into the right areas, I think we'll make chances. To be honest, like I don't have stats for the amount of shots they concede from these things, or like the XG that is created against these things. But I would imagine it's probably one of the highest in the league. But I mean, that's based on the games that I've seen. So, you know, maybe it's not always like that, but it certainly seems like it's always like that. Another thing, and this is kind of related. This is very much related to what JC was saying, and it relates to the way that they concede shots in very, very bad positions. So let's say that they are building up, right? Okay, just ignore the players I've got there. So they're building up. I don't know. Maybe they're building up in a similar way that we're building up or whatever. I spelled Longo's name wrong. But let's say we do, you know, they've got the ball over here, right? And they're doing that thing where they're passing it out. If we press them correctly, I've seen multiple times this season where they've just crumbled under a hybrid press system. So, like, I don't know, let's say that Wolfenden does get the ball here, or whoever the right centre-back is does get the ball. You know, if we're closing down this, if we're smart closing down space, and like JC said, if it is someone like Johnson who's maybe not as calm on the ball, or maybe even we close down this space, we're pushing the players up, we're being smart about it. And then let's say we do force them into, like, I don't know, this central pass here, Adam Wharton wins the ball here. This is a situation that I've seen more than once this season of Ipswich's creating. And without going off piste a bit too much, I think this is probably one of the reasons why they probably are relegation candidates, because they do stupid things like this, where they will give the ball, you know, they will lose the ball in these kind of areas, and then they've got a very simple goal, a very simple shot to score from. And a lot of that is their own doing at the end of the day. I don't know if there's let me see if there's like a errors leading to goals or something like that. Errors leading to shot this season, 19. Errors leading to a goal, 10. So you can see 10 goals.
Oh.
So bearing in mind, like, you know, they've conceded 57 goals. So more than a sixth of those have been from an error in these kind of positions. And let's be honest, like, I think Greaves is pretty decent on the ball. Davis is good on the ball. I don't know so much about their right centre-back. Johnson, not so much. But all you've got to do is kind of lull them into a trap of passing into this area around the D, have someone aggressively tackle them from behind. And, you know, I think you could very much...
I mean, to be fair, we have been very good at this when we have been pressing, because, for example, I think Sarr's probably the best at it. He's able to press. So, for example, let's say the ball is with Greaves. Sarr is able to press, but he's able to sort of run and curve his run. So he sort of blocks off the pass to Davis as he's pressing. so sort of able to run out of the way and then sort of curve his run in to sort of shadow press with the fullback in behind them. And we have actually won the ball like this a few times. I think Lerma did it against Chelsea, which is why he scored against them last year.
Yeah.
So we're known to do this. And I think the last thing that, I don't know if you're going to speak about it, but they really don't like defending against people dribbling at them.
Yeah.
And they're really bad at defending when running towards their own goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to finish this before we move on to that, like I wouldn't be against, say, maybe pushing up, because I mean they'll have their players pushed up here, whoever the wingers are. I mean, maybe you could drop Ty Mitchell off to maybe make a back four or something like that. I don't know. But if you position them just here, right? Okay, let's say Wolf, whoever it is, has the ball here, right? And you know they don't really know where to go, so their only real options really are probably either a very risky ball here. They can't really pass to Greaves, pass it back to the keeper who might lump it long. Or if they're really smart about it, maybe even a long pass out to Davis. By the time it gets there, you know, or even if they do manage to pull up this part, like a long pass over to here, you know, Munoz can read that. Munoz can be on them as soon as possible to try and win that ball over there. And even if he does do that, you know, just shuffle the players over. Mitchell drops back, and then I think your quid's in there. Or if Palmer does whatever, if they do pass it back to Palmer, you know, lump it long. That's not really I don't think it's necessarily the game plan they want to play, but if they have to do that, you know, then we can drop back a little bit, and then hopefully we can win the header or pick up the second ball after that. But yeah, moving on to that point, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the first point I was saying about if we win it in, you know, say like these, you know, like let's say like these areas over here, then I think we are quids in, because like they do. So actually, they do have. Wait, what was the stat? Let me go get the stat. So they concede the fourth. They've conceded the fourth most amount of shots that have led from a take on or a dribble. So I think this is in part because they do get caught in transition quite a lot. And I do think, you know, let's say that, I don't know, Lerma wins a ball here. Obviously, you know, if you've got space to run into, you're going to try and run into it if you can. And especially with them backpedaling as well, you're going to try and exploit that. And in this position where they are, where they are bad defending their own goal, bad running back to their own goal, you know, and I think that also comes into the stat earlier that I was saying, that they concede the most XG per shot of any team in the league. And I think this is exactly why. And if we do catch them in these positions, force them to run. So let's say, and the fact is we've got players like Eze, we've got Sarr, we've got Nketiah. All three of those players are happy to run with the ball at players, provided there is space in behind. And I think that is where we'll catch Ipswich, in my opinion. I don't think like a slow possession based, you know, trying to break down their low block. I don't think that's going to work. I think we need to try and call. Did I go?
No, I was meant to click the tactics board off, but I clicked you off.
I thought I disconnected or something, but yeah, I think that's where we'll catch her. I think if we force them into like a low block, I think it's going to be a bit of a waste of time. But I think if we try and cause as much chaos as possible, try and catch
Chaos
them.
FC.
Chaos FC. Yeah, we do that. Try and catch them in the middle. Try and hit them on the break. Use our pace. Use our dribbly players. I think, you know, we'll be quids in. And honestly, I'm expecting to win this game. Like, I think anything less than a win is.
Yeah, I agree.
It isn't good enough. To be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Going on to the score predictions now to round out. Obviously, the host, they will always throw themselves under the bus first because that's how it goes. in my opinion, with the injuries that they have, the fact that they're going to play a different formation or have to play people out of their normal formation, they've also played 120 minutes plus 10s yesterday as well, which is going to be a huge factor. They're only going to have 4 days to recover, to train, to travel to Selhurst as well. It's going to be a lot for them. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to have enough time to recover. We're going to be a little bit more well rested. But is this another case where it just plays into their hands? Where all the cards are against them. It means they're going to beat us. But I would say my opinion on this game will be 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Because I think we have enough quality up front to attack them and stop their attack.
I'm going to say 3-1. I think we'll score goals against them. And I think, but I think Delap will score against us. I just think he will, especially like the way Villa scored the other day as well. I was like, I could see him latching onto some dead punt up the pitch or something like that. And then that's it.
Cool. Dan, is there anything that you want to round out on?
No. That's everything really.
Quick go through the comments. The dog said Taylor's having a good game.
Good.
To be fair, we suffered against low blocks last season. Chair says pacing behind will work. Durf is saying, so bring on France to act as a second striker to help break them down. Mateta, who was a material man difference, there isn't there this time. We need to be able to break them down in his absence. I don't think France is going to be the one to do that. He also played 60 today or yesterday. So he'll probably be in the squad, but I don't think he'll get a chance as a second striker. He'll definitely be a 10 if he came on, right or left side. But I think Dan said already that he'll be a left-sided 10 most likely. We'll probably see Kamada. Teo had an assist as well. Very aggressive striker. O'Shea is deceivingly fast. Oh, yeah. Are you sure? And Greaves isn't that fast, but Sarr is. And finally, Dev said 1-0 to us. Guys, thank you very, very, very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, up the Palace. And we're going to hope the intro plays, or the outro plays.
Up the Palace.
Eagles!
Eagles!